G'day everyone, it's Ray here. Just wanted to touch base and say good day before we get started. Hopefully this is all working and you can see my screen. If someone can jump in and write a question saying that you can hear me and or see my screen, that would be really good. Thanks for that, Abby. Hopefully the screen has just come up. It's sometimes a little bit of a delay, and you've got both now, so that's awesome. Thanks for responding to that. I'm making it just on, or not quite even 7 o'clock yet, but I like to start close to being on time, but I realise that a lot of people are probably busy at this time of the evening with kids and getting dinner sorted, or at least cleaned up afterwards. I've just finished the dishes in our household, having had my partner cook an amazing meal. So we'll delay it a couple of minutes and let a few more people come on board. I'm expecting, well, 27 people have registered, and there's 11 of you, or 10 of you present, plus myself online at the moment. So welcome to you all. Just while we're waiting for everyone to jump on and join us, just to fill in a little bit of time at the start, if you can let me know where you're from and what spring challenge event you're doing, 3, 6 or 9 hour, and whether you're doing Westport or Taupo. That would be a really good way to get started. At about 2 minutes past 7, I'll kick into the presentation and get things going, and I'll stay online as long as I can at the end and answer any questions you've got. Awesome, Debbie, first timer doing a 6 hour in Westport. It's going to be a great event there. My partner is doing the 6 hour, although she's not a first timer. Katrina from Rotorua doing the Taupo 3 hours. Whangarei doing 3 hours in Taupo. Nice, Abby. You will be competing against Katrina by the looks of that. Kim, you won't see me. I'll hide in the background, but you should be able to see my screen at the moment. I've got a woman in a pink singlet with her arms spread wide with heading adventure racing, totally badass, totally doable. If you can't see that, let me know. Melissa, first timer, doing a 6 hour in Westport. Awesome. And Julie from Christchurch doing the 3 hour in Westport, first time ever doing an adventure race. I can guarantee you're all going to have fun and be challenged. You'll, yeah, amazing, amazing event. Alrighty, we'll give it 1 more minute. My watch has just vibrated to tell me it's 2 minutes past 7. So we'll get started in 60 seconds. Who was it? Kim, hopefully you can see the screen now, and that you're doing the 3 hour in Westport, first time. Everyone else, you can see the screen, can't you? Renee, you've just typing in the question box like you've done is the perfect way to chat through to me. If I unmute everyone, then the system usually crashes. So I keep everyone muted unless there's a special reason to unmute everyone. Getting lots of yeses about the screen from Julie, Debbie, Melissa, Abby. So hopefully, Kim, yours is coming on. Maybe there's a setting there somewhere for you to click on that may have been missed. I'm not sure. But and Renee doing the 6 hour in Westport and stepping up for the 9 hour in Taupo. That is a great combination. That is awesome, Renee. Okay. Just before we get into it, a couple of housekeeping things. Just to make sure you get the most out of the presentation, if you can make sure your phone is turned off and the other web pages are all closed down to avoid distractions during the webinar like Facebook. That way you can get the maximum out of the webinar. if you can also hold your questions until the end, that way I can answer them, or they may get answered during the webinar, and they can all be consolidated at the end. I can take the time to answer them fully rather than giving you a rushed answer while trying to move on with the rest of the presentation. Alrighty, so who am I? Oh, jumping ahead. I've been coaching professionally since 2000 in a range of disciplines, but all endurance sports: triathletes, marathon runners, cyclists, mountain bikers, and adventure racers. I've coached lots and lots of people to compete in Spring Challenge. I wish I'd actually kept a bit of a database in terms of who I've coached and who I've taken on training camps and worked with, and the successes they've had in Spring Challenge. I suspect it's probably into the few hundred now. I've been running training camps specifically for Spring Challenge since 2011. There has been times when I've done 3. I think there was even one year I ran 4 of them. I don't quite have the time this year to do that many, and I only did 1 last year as well. So I've been working with a range of athletes, primarily the beginner and recreational athletes, to achieve their sporting and health and fitness goals across a spectrum of endurance events. This is a picture of me and my partner Rachel. That's us last year running around Lake Rotoiti, and the Loop the Lake, which runs around Lake Rotoiti, is on this weekend. So I thought it was appropriate that I chuck that picture in there so you can get to see a little bit. Someone, I forget who it was, it might have, no, I can't remember, that was wanting or expecting to see me. That is one of the few times you'll see me during this presentation. And there is probably the last time you'll see me, and that's with my daughter. She's 6 years old these days, and it's a reasonably old photo, but she used to love going up into the hills with me. These days, she'd much rather take selfies on my cell phone. That's me in the very first Absolute Wilderness with a client on the left of the screen, Susie. She's been training with Kiwi coaching for a long time, and one of her good friends. They wanted me to guide them through. I've support crewed for them in a precursor to the Spring Challenge, the Autumn Challenge, which used to be the North Island equivalent, that was held in autumn instead of spring. And yeah, support crewed for her in 2010 or maybe 2009 as well. I've crewed at a number of events for her. So we worked together as a team. I basically did the navigating and guided them on the quickest route that they could move through the hills around Murchison in 2014 for the very first Absolute Wilderness. And recently had, I'll say, unique weather for the Absolute Wilderness in Reefton this year. Lots and lots and lots of rain. I grew up on the West Coast, born in Westport, grew up in Hokitika. My teammate was from across the valley from where the race was being held, and neither of us had seen so much rain on the West Coast in one downpour. So anyway, enough about myself. Before we get into the crux of the presentation, I'm just going to introduce you to one of my other clients, Diane. That's her on the left, and this is something she put together about the Spring Challenge. I did the Spring Challenge 3-hour entry-level event. Being a team event, it proved to be a great opportunity to share the experience with others. Learning each other's strengths and weaknesses along the way, it was important to be positive and support each other to keep the team functioning as one. The water section in an inflatable raft was fun. One of our team members had a real fear of water, which was most likely shared by many other competitors. With little time to think about it, as we clambered into our raft, she took charge of her paddle and we made our way through the section in good time, passing some others along the way. High fives all around. Each raft travelled with a guide experienced in rafting. Our guide gave us tips of where to sit in the raft and how to paddle. Until that moment, I'd never actually been in an inflatable raft. Due to intense rain through the previous night, we encountered a lot of mud on the by-foot sections. This made things a lot of fun. I found it quicker to slide down on my bum rather than try and stay upright. The mountain bike was mainly on gravel road. I'm sure that the 6 and 9 hour events probably ended up biking on some trails that required a little more technical skill than ours did. I felt that map and compass reading skills did not need to be at a high level for the 3 hour event. It was easy to see where the other teams were heading, and we at times took the risk after a quick look at the map and following them, assuming they were going the correct direction. All in all, it was a great introduction into adventure racing. There's a lot of camaraderie between the women's teams. I thought I'd put that in there to give you a bit of an idea about, particularly for the first timers and those of you a little bit apprehensive about what you've enrolled for to do. And you might see my daughter hiding in the background of that picture there as well. So she came along, gave me a hand to support crew. Alrighty, so tonight's agenda, the keys to success from training is what I'm going to cover first. Then we're going to look through training ideas for you and your teammates, equipment, and also support crews. And then we'll finish up with the question and answer section that I touched on before. Alrighty, so the keys to success from training. If you miss training days, don't try and give up. If you miss training days, don't try and catch up and add by adding it on to the following days and just building up and doing lots and lots and lots of training. Also, conversely, don't beat yourself up about missing a training session. Just keep moving forward with your training program. Now, the reason why I don't want you to try and catch up those training sessions and do multiple training sessions on a single day and catch up is your body needs to recover. And we'll talk about recovery in a little bit more detail a little bit later on. Next thing you need to do is talk with your teammates and discuss what your personal goals are, as well as the goals that you all have as a team. Have this conversation early in your training, and then also have it close to the race, maybe a week out, so that you're all on the same page and you're not getting frustrated with your teammates who are trying to do something different. Also discuss with your support crew what you need, what you would like them to help with when you come into the transitions. I.e., let them know specific food or drink that they need to have ready, what equipment you like, and how you like things laid out. If you communicate that with them, it's going to make their job easier. They often don't take a crystal ball out with them, and particularly in the heat of competition, as an athlete, you can be quite stressed and not even realize it. It makes your relationships with your support crew a lot stronger as well. And most people will use family or partners for their support crew. And so keeping them on side is always good, so you don't create frustrations. The top tip I'll give you for this one is have a great attitude. Know you're going to have an adventure and have fun doing so. Alrighty, so I've got 7 secrets of success. The first one is consistency. Your training needs to be done consistently. If you're consistently missing your training sessions, you will not make any progress to your success. Your body adapts to the stress of the training, and we'll come back to that a little bit later as well. The training stress improves your fitness. With your fitness enhanced, you'll be able to handle bigger training stresses, i.e. longer or more intense training. And if you consistently complete your training sessions, you can progress your training sessions, making them longer or more harder, and they won't be so tiring or leave you as fatigued as when you first started training. Try and do some form of training each and every day without exception, whether it's cycling or running, or doing a gym session, or something less strenuous such as stretching, which is still really effective at enhancing your performance. It's also really good to assist with recovery as well. Specificity of training. Your training needs to be specific. Focus on what the event involves. If you're training for a karate competition, you'll spend plenty of time in the dojo. The same applies for running a marathon or a half marathon. Your focus needs to be on running. With an adventure race, your training needs to be based around adventure and the activities that you're going to be doing. So primarily cycling or mountain biking, as well as running, trekking through and over hills. And if you can get out rafting or doing some form of paddling, that's going to be a real good bonus as well. But it's certainly not essential because the water does most of the work with the raft. As I mentioned previously, our bodies adapt to the stresses applied to them. Your arm muscles get used to the paddling action and get better at it. Your cycling muscles get used to turning the pedals over on the bike, making them stronger. And your running muscles get better at propelling you across the ground as you run. But they can only get better at doing this if you constantly practice doing it. So specificity is the second secret of success. The third one, and I said I'd come back to it, is recovery. And your body adapts to the training stress that's applied to it. However, the secret to this is that it doesn't do it immediately. The training actually damages the muscles and breaks them down. Your body actually adapts to the training whilst you're recovering. While you're not training is when the body adapts and makes itself stronger, primarily whilst you're sleeping. Without this recovery time, your body can't make improvements. A number of things come into enhancing your recovery. Nutrition, and we'll cover that shortly in a little bit of detail, but not too much, and hydration certainly help. So does stretching, and it also helps prevent injury as well. The fourth secret of success is quality of sleep. Whilst you're sleeping is when the most enhancements occur, making you better as a result of the training you complete. During your sleep, you get a good, if you get a good 8 hours sleep each night, will ensure that you get the most out of your training. There's an old wives' tale that says an hour before midnight is worth 2 after, and that is very true. The earlier you get to bed, the better the quality of sleep that you'll get. It also means that you're more likely to get a full 8 hours of sleep in bed by 9 p.m. Sleep by 9:30 means that if you get up at 5:30 in the morning, you've had a full 8 hours of sleep. Or it means you can get a full 9 hours of sleep through to 6:30 every day. How's that for a quality night's sleep? The next secret to success is hiring a coach and getting that expert advice from a professional who's qualified and has a wealth of experience to draw on is a great way to ensure your success and that of your team. Professionals know what they're talking about and can assist you with a range of things to do with the adventure race. Well-meaning friends and colleagues don't always know what they're talking about just because they read something on the internet or once talked to someone who did a spring challenge a few years ago. Qualified coach can plan and prepare a program that is specific to helping you achieve your goals. Next up, nutrition. As this old saying goes, you are what you eat. Nutrition is essential for ensuring that you fuel your body for exercise and also to replenish and repair your body post-exercise. Eating good quality, nutritious food will help you prepare and succeed with your training and then again on the day of the event. Hand in hand with nutrition goes hydration. Your cells in your body contain a high proportion of water, and if they get dehydrated, they can't function properly. Make sure you drink at least 2 litres of water per day and more if you're doing a lot of exercise and sweating it out. So those are the 7 secrets of success. Further on that line, the support plan. You've probably heard of the 6 Ps, and proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So set a plan and also get support for that plan. Whether you use a spouse or significant other, your coach, various Facebook groups, you can get a lot of support and motivation around your training. Also with the spring challenge, you're going to need a support crew on the day of the event. They're going to move your bike, your gear, your warm clothes, and your food from one transition area, or what's known as a TA, to the next one, so it's there ready for you. Okay, next up, I'm just going to introduce you to another athlete, and Chrissy. She came along to a couple of my training camps that I've had. I've only ever done one in Hokitika leading into the Hokitika Spring Challenge, and she came along to that one with her teammate. And I've got another quote from her teammate later on that I'll insert into this presentation. But this is what Chrissy had to say about things. My teammate and I attended Ray's Spring Challenge training weekend on the West Coast. Having read that Ray was an actual drill sergeant, I'm a physical training instructor in the Army in my day job, and I do my coaching as a secondary business in the evenings. Having read that Ray was an actual drill sergeant, we were feeling pretty nervous about what the next few days entailed. What it ended up being was a pretty awesome few days, gaining insights into all aspects of adventure racing, from bike maintenance, map reading and compass skills, to uphill, downhill rides, bike skills, and a bit of running thrown in for good measure. Finishing up on day 2 with an actual mini event, bringing all components together was brilliant. We went home from the weekend feeling like we were really well prepared for the impending spring challenge. We were novices. Other teams on the weekend were experienced and a mix of open and vets. No matter where we sat on the spectrum, we all got heaps out of the training. It was a really great chance to fine-tune our skills, learn some new ones, gain some experience in a simulated event, not only gain knowledge from Ray on all aspects of adventure racing, but also from other teams attending. Not only did we get some extra tips over dinner with Ray, and when we were at the Spring Challenge, we caught up with him after the briefing, just in time for him to look over our route choice and give us a few pointers. I'd definitely recommend Coach Ray's training weekend. We will be back for sure. Okay, so moving on to some training ideas. There's three key aspects that I recommend for your training ideas, and they're adventure sessions, fitness sessions, and recovery or easy sessions. Now I'll start with the recovery or easy sessions first, and these are sessions that are designed to enhance your recovery from the more physically demanding training. If you've had a big weekend planned, then schedule one on Friday, unless that's part of the adventure weekend you've planned, and also plan one for the Monday afterwards to allow you a bit of recovery from the big weekend of training. Jumping back to the top of the list there, the adventure sessions, and these are sessions that are best done with your teammates in the weekend. But if you can get out midweek, there's nothing to stop you doing the adventures then. Take a map and a compass and have all your compulsory race gear in a wee backpack. Go on an adventure together and practice your navigation and other skills. The fitness sessions, they're designed to make you fitter and can be done with your teammates or by yourself. Having your teammates do these workouts with you will provide motivation and commitment, but if due to circumstances you can't all get together, then that's fine. Fitness sessions are all less than an hour in duration or thereabouts, but are higher intensity to build your fitness quickly. So there's 3 different types. The adventure sessions that are going to be building your reliance and your skills with your teammates, out in the hills, out in the middle of nowhere, building those skill sets. Fitness sessions are designed to build your fitness, the physiological systems of your body, the heart, the lungs, the leg muscles, etc. And the recovery or easy sessions to help clear out waste products and remove lactic acid and other things that you need to get rid of. Righty, let's talk about them in a bit more detail. So adventure sessions, multidiscipline adventures, also weekend adventures. And I've got some ideas there in terms of where to find some information on where to go. The Kennett brothers have got a really good mountain biking guidebook for all around New Zealand. If you Google Doc mountain biking tracks and also Doc walking tracks, get some good ideas. And particularly in the South Island, there's a number of great trails there that you can do, both on foot or with a mountain bike. The Heafy Track, Old Ghost Road, Alps to Ocean, St James, Queen Charlotte Track, West Coast Wilderness Trail. Up in the North Island, you've got great opportunities, particularly with the Timber Trail, through the Coromandel. If you're based closer to the bottom of the North Island, down in Wellington Way, you've got the Ruahine Ranges. So you've got plenty of options all around the country. It's really great. But anyway, plan a session to do with your teammates. Include both mountain biking and hiking or trekking within the session. Get on the internet and find somewhere not too far away from where you live to conduct these sessions. Google the options I mentioned before, or get the Kennett brothers book, Classic New Zealand Mountain Bike Rides, and find options close to where you live. Plan a session based around a mountain bike road, and then at the conclusion of the ride, put your bikes on the vehicle or lock them to your bike rack, and then head out on a hike or a trek or maybe even a run. Just remember to use shared and pedestrian only tracks and don't go off running on mountain biking only tracks. Take a pack with you and carry a couple of litres of water and a warm jacket so you've got it if it's required. And you also get used to carrying a bit of weight as well. Aim for a session that's approximately the same duration as the event that you're doing, i.e. for the 3-hour competitors, aim to spend 3 hours out. Roughly 50-50, but it doesn't need to be. it doesn't need to be precise. The session provides a number of benefits, and physiologically, it will provide you with aerobic endurance benefits by being out for such a long time. Try and keep a level 2 intensity, and we'll talk more about intensity a little bit later on for the majority of the ride. But basically, you want to be at a level where you can maintain a conversation with your teammates and just keep riding all day long. These sessions are a great way to develop both your mountain biking and navigation skills. Another key aspect of the session is the team bonding that occurs. Okay, so for the fitness sessions, on my website, I have a number of great options there, both cycling and running. Every Wednesday, I post a cycling workout, and every Friday, I post a run workout. But circuit classes and boot camps are a good way of building up your upper body strength and the arms and upper back muscles that are going to prepare you for the rafting leg, because it's a little bit more challenging to get out rafting regularly. The more you improve, particularly with your cycling and running, the more efficient and effective you'll be on the day. Focus on those sessions primarily. Steady state sessions mainly as you build your fitness and your aerobic ability. And then next up, the recovery and the easy sessions. The more you improve your biking and running, like I said before, the better things are going to be. And the recovery sessions are important to keep the training going without overdoing things. If you try and do lots and lots all the time, you're going to burn yourself out quite quickly. Recovery or easy sessions are really good mentally as well as physically for the recovery. And also stretching and yoga are great tools to include. So I mentioned before I'd introduce you to Chrissy's teammate and Maria Lamb, and this is what she had to say about the training camps as well. When we met Ray, he was laid back, encouraging, and very informative. We went to Hokitika for a training weekend where we learned many valuable skills and pushed ourselves under the careful guidance of Ray. Throughout the training, Ray patiently worked to everyone's capabilities and made us realize that we were all capable of a lot more than we sometimes gave ourselves credit for. Spring Challenge arrived, and with all Ray's tips for map reading, orienteering, fueling, and looking after the team, we had the best fun completing the 6-hour challenge. I'll definitely be using Ray's services in the future, as I know he's going to produce great results with the time he invests. Okay, so we're going to talk about equipment now. Some of the key things that you're going to need to get through the event: sturdy bike, helmet, good shoes, a compass, a backpack, a decent jacket. And if you check on the race website, there's other compulsory equipment. Those are the key items. You can't do the Spring Challenge without a bike. You've also got to have a helmet for both the rafting leg and the mountain biking leg. Good reliable shoes that aren't going to fall apart on you. Often find that running shoes just aren't strong enough when you start getting off the beaten track and into the hills. But however, having said that, they're usually going to be fine for the 3-hour particularly. But you're going to want something sturdy, and you may want, for the mountain biking leg, some specific mountain biking shoes as well, especially if you've got SPD or clip-in pedals on your mountain bike. Having a compass and knowing how to use it is very important. However, having said that, if you can follow a map, you're going to be fine getting through most of, particularly the 3-hour and the 6-hour. With the 9-hour event, you are probably going to need to be able to utilize the compass a little bit more technically to find some of the control points. The backpack, that's what you use to carry all your food, all your compulsory equipment, all your warm gears. And I just want to touch on the compulsory equipment a little. The reason why it's compulsory is if the weather goes bad, it's going to save your life. So my advice is get used to carrying it. Carry it wherever you go with the training that you do. If you head up in the Port Hills from Christchurch, or whether you're heading up in the middle of the Southern Alps, just carry all the equipment. The cold snap that's gone through at the moment, if you've gone out this evening or earlier today somewhere in the South Island, there's a good chance you would have been caught needing some warmer gears as the southerly swept through and left a blanket of snow over a lot of places. On my drive home tonight, I managed to, both the Richmond Ranges and the Kahurangi National Park, both have got a nice dusting of snow on them. If I look back at the Absolute Wilderness race that I did back in February, that storm that blew in, we needed all our warm gear and also all our wet weather gear just to get through. So having it and knowing how to use the equipment and not being afraid to put it on and use it rather than keeping it in the backpack meant that Carlos and I were able to continue going without having to worry about too much. Whereas behind us, everything was going to custard for a lot of people. They had to get picked up by tractors or helicoptered out and weren't ready for the conditions. So get out there and don't be afraid of the conditions either, but be smart about it. If it's snowing and you don't have a great amount of snow skills, then don't go right up into the mountains. Stay in the bush line where you avoid most of the snow. Support crews, I've touched on them a couple of times, and they're going to be essential for your success of your day and moving your equipment from point A to point B. They get just as much of an adventure as you. They get to see some wilderness places, but they get to see it from the back seat of a vehicle or the driver's seat, depending on their role in the support crew. Involve them in your training sessions, particularly the ones you do with your teammates. Get them to meet you at a certain point and give you the mountain bikes or collect the mountain bikes off you while you go off and do the next leg and pop out somewhere else, and they can pick you up. If you've got kids, it's really good to get them involved in the support crew aspect. They can give them a key job that at this transition, at the first transition, their job's to give mum her bike helmet and pack away her wetsuit. And having that responsibility in the support crew is, kids love it. And also means it's one less thing for everyone else to worry about. They just got to make sure it gets put in the vehicle and not left behind at the transition area. But help your support crew out. Talk to them about your expectations before the race. Don't leave it until the morning of as you're driving to the start line. Also, organise your equipment. Put them in boxes and keep it organised for them. Some support crews I've worked for, I've got the teams to put the entire team's worth of kayaking gear in one box and the entire team's gear, mountain biking gear, in another box. Other times we have a box for each person. So all Susie's gear is in this box, all so-and-so's gear is in this one, and everyone else in this one. For bigger, longer races such as the Southern Traverse, what I used to do is each athlete would have a box for each discipline, and we'd pack and unpack each box and get it ready for them for each leg of the race. But work out how much space you've got in the vehicles you've got and how to manage that best for your support team. So the action steps for here is get out and train. Go training and go on adventures with your teammates. Learn and practice your navigation. Without those skills, you're not going to be successful in the event and will struggle to find some of the CPs, especially if you're doing the 9 hour. The 6 hour is not so technical, but there's going to be some challenging ones in there, I'm sure. And the 3 hour, it's nowhere near that demanding. Also, arrange a support network with your support crew, coach, and other family and friends to help you through things. Alrighty, the next client I'm going to introduce you to is Vanessa. She's a long-time teammate of my partner so Vanessa's on the left of the picture there, Rachel's in the middle, my partner. And this is what Ness had to say. I'm sorry, that's Marg on the right as well. So Ness says, I can honestly say Coach Ray's training program this past year well and truly set me up for the 9 hour spring challenge. Not once did I feel like sitting down and putting the brakes on. Sure, I hit the wall a couple of times, but I had the stamina to move on. I have a huge amount of appreciation for all your support, guidance, and patience, Ray. Also have the utmost respect for Marg and Rach. I couldn't have crossed the line without either of them. It was a tough day out. And that was after the Golden Bay Spring Challenge. So unfortunately, I've never actually been a support crew for either Ness or my partner Rachel. I've often been overseas with my role with the Army for the Spring Challenge. I was last year. I was the year before that as well. But this year, I'm going to be here and I'm heading off early in October. So I will get to be in her support crew finally. Okay, so that wraps up pretty much everything covering off. We'll go to questions shortly. So if you've got some questions in mind, start thinking of them. But I'm going to give a bit of a blatant plug for a few things I've got going on. The link there, www.coachray.nz/spring-challenge, will take you through to all the details about my spring challenge training programs and also the weekend training camp in Hanmer Springs. So the coaching packages or the training plans that I do, they're there for the 3-hour, 6-hour, 9-hour, Taupo and Westport. So you can jump in there, and I've got a discount code for you all to use as well for tonight, and that's going to get you a 15% discount. And every fortnight we have a coaching call, a Skype call, and you jump on there and ask questions, talk about your training, how it's been going, how it's not been going, and if you need a bit of a stick shaken to get you back out the door and out training, then that's the time that we'll catch up and cover off on that. So the program, or the training programs, they're all 24 weeks long, and they're delivered through software called Training Peaks, which is really good if you've got a Garmin or a TomTom or a Polar. You can connect into that, and so I can actually see the training you've been doing and give you guidance on that. I see your message there, Renee, that you've got to go, so thanks for joining us. Hopefully I've ticked the right button and got this recording, so you can catch up on the questions later if you want to. So the training programs are delivered through Training Peaks. Enter in the discount code, simply webinar, all lowercase, and it'll just take 15% off. Now, because Training Peaks is American software, the price is US dollars, so 177 US. It sounds expensive, but that on today's exchange rate, it's 241 New Zealand dollars. So basically $10.07 a week. And if you use the discount code, it's only $8.56 a week with the discount. So a couple of coffees worth a week will get you a full 24-week training program, as well as a fortnightly coaching calls on the Sundays. First one will be this Sunday, and then fortnightly thereafterwards. I've also got the weekend training camps in Hanmer Springs, where we cover off on the Saturday mountain bike skills in the morning, then navigation skills in the afternoon. We head up into the hills around Hanmer for that and get you out following compass bearings and having a bit of fun. And then on the Sunday morning, we have a simulated event where we head out around the hills, go off mountain biking, and then park up and then follow the maps and get through, picking up control points along the way. You've got a race passport. You clip the passport as you go past each control, and that's 4 weeks out from Spring Challenge on the 25th and 26th of August. So jump on to the website there, and that will get you in to book on for that. Places are filling up. It usually sells out within 24 hours of me doing the Spring Challenge webinar. This year I've had a bit of a soft release, and I've already had one slot go. So there's slots left for 3 teams only, so don't miss out on that one. Righty, so question time. Feel free to ask any question you want. There's no such thing as a silly question. So Renee, thanks Ray. Have to go do my own coaching. Look forward to hearing the reply. Abby, silly question. No, it's not, Abby. Do people carry water bottles or use camelbacks? Some people use one and not the other. Other people will use the other. And then again, some people even use both. Depending on how long I'm heading out for, I'll often use a camelback in my backpack and also have a drink bottle on my mountain bike. So having the ability to carry that water, whatever's convenient for you. Some shorter ladies don't actually have room on their bike to fit a drink bottle in there based on the design of their bike. So only you're restricted to having it as a camelback. Debbie, you certainly can share the training program with your whole team, but they won't get the benefit of being able to log in, load up the training that they've been doing, and then getting my feedback and ability to join in on the coaching calls. So technically there's nothing stopping you printing it off and saying this is what we're doing, but they're not going to get the benefit of any of the feedback or advice from that. Okay. So feel free to ask away any questions. Like I said at the start, I'm going to stay online answering questions until there's no more questions coming through. And no, Julie, this is not really silly, but for our team, running is not our strong suit. Is there absolutely essential skill to master, or is it hiking, tramping okay? So up in the hills, most people aren't going to be running anyway, but running's just a good tool to build your fitness, to develop the heart and lungs, so that when you're up in the hills, you're going to be moving efficiently and effectively. But if you do most of your training up in the hills, it's going to be at a hiking, tramping pace anyway, albeit probably quicker compared to if you're going tramping normally, because you're not going to be carrying as much food or sleeping bags or any of the extra equipment you take then. Okay, Debbie, I have a TomTom Multisport. Can that be used for the training program? It certainly can. The Training Peaks software links in with pretty much all modern electronic training devices from all the big brands, Garmin, Polar, TomTom, Nike, those sort of things. And for the ones that it doesn't talk with natively, there's some workarounds available that people have found, and you can Google them on the internet. So Abby's question, so people compass off their phone, or do you need a compass? To be honest, the compasses on your phone are pretty hopeless. Might have been 2 years ago at one of the training camps. There's about 5 people there that all had iPhones, and we just pulled them all out, turned on the compass, and sat them down right next to each other, edge to edge. And then there were a couple of Samsungs and other brands that we put on the side there as well. The compasses were all pointing different directions. So the compasses on your phones are pretty hopeless. I wouldn't trust it unless it was the absolute only thing I had, because I'd fallen out of the raft and the compass I had around my neck had been washed down river and I had nothing left to use. So get a magnetic compass. They don't cost much, $40 from a sports store. For a good reliable one, you can pick them up a little bit cheaper than that. But a $40 silver compass is the deluxe. It's the good reliable. It's the Toyota of compasses. They've got a range of models, and you can spend hundreds of dollars on a good silver compass. But the $40 Ranger compass from Silver is basically all you need, and it will be reliable, and it will last you for years and years and years. Kim, thank you. Have to go. You're welcome, Kim. Abby, is my biking much uphill? I saw you had spin down as training. Is that a good option? Spin is a good option for training. It's going to build your fitness. It's one of the fitness training sessions. But I would suggest you do get out there and practice riding uphill, riding downhill, riding off-road, getting those skill sets. You can't develop those skill sets on a spin bike. Keep the spin classes to once a week at most, and use that for your fitness. Get out on the weekends. Wendy, thanks, Ray. Got to go. No problems. You're welcome, Wendy. Melissa, navigation is our main concern, as it is for a lot of people, particularly first-timers. Lots of practice with a map and compass in the Port Hills. Your husband was going to set a few checkpoints up for us to find. Good idea. It's a brilliant idea. I do that for my partner and her team. I also do it for the training camps that we run. So yeah, the more practice you can get finding the better off you're going to be. Yeah, it's a bit of a shocker, really, isn't it, Abby, in terms of the phone compasses? And the technology may have changed in the last few years, so do a bit of an experiment. But for $40 to get something that's magnetic, the battery's not going to run flat on it. It's a lot more reliable. Awesome, Melissa. You'll have a lot of fun with the 6-hour event. Julie, another burning question I've wanted to ask, but do people of all shapes and sizes participate? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. From super skinny, short racing snakes that spend all day doing fitness, and they're usually the ones that get cold and wet and shiver and struggle because of it, out on when the weather turns bad, through to people that are carrying a few too many extra kilograms, and they use it as a great way of losing some of them, but they don't lose all of them before they get to the race day. And I'd like to think that a lot of them carry on and exercise and continue to do adventure racing and lose more of it. So Julie, the question, what grade is the river that you'll be rafting on the day? Now, I don't actually have any involvement in organising the race or setting the course. So my guess is as good as yours. With it being in Westport, I'm speculating, but it's most likely going to be the Buller. For safety reasons, putting a whole lot of inexperienced women rafting down grade 5 rivers is probably a recipe for disaster. And Nathan is a very wise and smart person who wants to challenge people without putting them outside of their comfort and safety zone. So it's going to be at the lower end of the scale. If you get some good grade 3 rapids, you're going to have a really great adventure. And I'm going to speculate that the Buller River is probably where the event is going to be, the rafting leg of the event is going to be held. I don't know for sure. There's potentially some other rivers in the region that could be rafted, but most likely, if I was a betting man, I'd be putting odds on that it's going to be on the Buller. Debbie, would the Rogaine sessions in the Port Hills help? Most definitely. If you're close enough to travel to them, whether it's coming from Timaru, Kaikoura, West Coast, or even further afield, to go do those, get in amongst it. The more experience you can have, map and compass in hand, trying to find control points, you're going to be better off. Abby, thanks, Ray. This has been awesome. Just like with everyone else, Abby, you're more than welcome. Julie, if you have never actually been rafting, is this an issue? No. A number of people, including Diane, who I took the quote from at the start of the presentation, have never actually been in a raft prior to getting in it during the spring challenge. As you paddle down the river, the water does most of the work. You can put in a lot of effort paddling to not go that much faster. Having said that, you're better off doing a little bit of paddling, or actually a moderate amount of paddling, rather than no paddling and floating down the whole day. It will take a long time to get down, depending on the river flow. So you will be fine if you haven't had a chance to get out rafting, but I do encourage you and your teammates to go find a commercial rafter and say, hey, go pay for the experience. So you've got a little bit of knowledge in terms of what the raft guide's going to guide you to do. They're going to tell you, give you commands, paddle forward, paddle backwards, or sometimes it's just forwards, backwards, over left, over right, get you to move over different sides of the raft to unweight part of it, so that part can slide over a rock that's sticking up or a narrow section a little bit easier. Melissa, awesome, thanks. You're welcome. Recommended trail shoes, best for hiking and running, good brands. Shoes are very personal. Everyone's foot is different. You've probably heard the Shoe Clinic jingle on TV or radio. Don't pick a shoe, let a shoe pick you. And that's the reality of it. Something that's good for my foot is not necessarily going to be good for your foot, which is going to be different from your teammates as well. There's a number of really good brands out there with hard-wearing trail shoes. I personally prefer the Asics Trabaco trail shoe. That's been good to me over the years. I use the neutral version of it. There's one that has a little bit more support. Other good brands, Innovate, Salomon, there's plenty of good brands out there. But my advice would be to go to a store that specialises in getting you fitted into appropriate footwear. Shoe Clinic, you can't go wrong there wherever you are in the country. Abby, and what do you think for Taupo River? Once again, the lower reaches down below the Waikato is a possibility, but I suspect that might be too obvious. Somewhere like the Tongariro River might be another good option. I went there, I took a group of educators from the Military Studies Institute on some adventure training through there once. There's some really good rafting in there that's not too challenging or not unsafe, but it'll give people that are inexperienced some really good challenges. So that would be an interesting place for the rafting to occur. But once again, I'm just speculating. I've got absolutely no idea for sure, and you'll find out the day before the race. Julie, how much is your weekend in Hanmer for a team? I think you're referring to the price. Now I've got the early birds price special on at the moment. I'm just going to have to jump on and check and see what that is, because I can't remember off the top of my head. I did mean to look this up before the webinar, but I was frantically eating tea and then doing the dishes. So just bear with me while I quickly check. So the early bird for a team is $347, and that's through to the 16th of April. So like I said before, if you want to take advantage of that, it usually sells out within 24 hours of my first webinar about the spring challenge. So get on to your teammates and get booked in as quick as you can. After the 16th, if there's still slots available, the full price is $447 for a team. Righty, Abby, full wetsuit needed, or is a short okay? Most instances you can probably get away with a short, but I'd recommend the full. That way you've just got that little bit more warmth. You can still paddle in it. Taupo, it's going to be a little bit warmer. It's another month later, and you're further north, so you can probably get away with the short a lot easier, a lot better up there. Debbie, would you recommend full-length wetsuits or tri-wetsuits? Yes, I do. I just wear my triathlon wetsuit as well. I don't have a specific one for adventure racing. Abby, do you have to drive any part of the day, say to get from rafting to biking? You won't, but your support crew will. So you'll drive from wherever you're staying to the start line. The support crew will drop you off. You'll either run and jump in the raft or do something to get to the raft. If the raft isn't right there at the start line, you'll paddle to the end of the raft while your support crew drive to the end of the raft, to the first transition area. They'll meet you there with your equipment for whatever is next, whether it's mountain biking or trekking. They will take your wetsuit off you and any other gear you don't need. You'll take the gear that you do need and go off on the next leg. And then they will drive to the next transition area, and depending on how many transition areas for your event, obviously the 3 hour has less transition areas than the 6 and the 9 and so on. And then you'll finish at the finish line and you'll meet them there. The finish line is usually close to where the prize giving is going to be as well. Hopefully that clears that up for you, Abby, but from when you start the event until you finish, you won't be in a vehicle unless you're using it to shelter from the rain while you get changed or something. Righty, Julie, for the 3 hour event, how flash is the mountain bikes that are needed? They vary so much in price, it's hard to know how much is necessary to spend on a good bike. So a reliable mountain bike will get you through pretty much all of it. The 3 hour, it's not so technical as the 6 and the 9 hour, so you can probably get away with a lower spec model a lot more easily than you can in the 6 or 9 hour. 9 hour typically has some form of technical mountain biking, and so you do require something higher end for the 9 hour, and also because you're going to spend a lot more time sitting on it. I do recommend having something that's going to be a lot more comfortable for you. So hopefully that answers your question there, Julie. Melissa, training with food, you think you will eat event day? It's our first time, hard to know what to eat. we're out there for 8 hours plus. The secret is eating real food, something that you enjoy eating, something that's easy to carry, and yeah, something that you enjoy, something that's going to fuel you. I know there's plenty of people out there that avoid carbohydrates because they're bad and make you put on weight, but the reality is they're going to provide fuel for your adventure race. I've got a really good article I wrote on my website. If you just go to www.coachray.nz, and in the search box at the top, just write Spring Challenge Nutrition, and it'll probably bring up a couple of articles. There's one I wrote a couple of years ago, and then I updated it last year, and also added a couple of videos where I did a couple of presentations about nutrition for Spring Challenge. So I'll try and find the link and email that out to everyone. So I'll write that down. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll send an email out that links through to that nutrition article for everyone so you can get the benefit of that. Also keep an eye out on the Spring Challenge training Facebook page that I run. I'll put, I intend sharing a number of my old Spring Challenge articles on that over the coming weeks, and also then filming and preparing some more stuff as we lead into Westport and Taupo. Alrighty, next one. I can see your next question there, Melissa. Yes, chocolate. I often have a bar or two of chocolate in my race pack, as in the pack that I carry when I'm doing an adventure race. I don't typically eat it, but I save it for emergency. If my teammates are feeling a bit down, obviously low on energy, I've got it there, can give it to them. It's a quick source of energy. I do have Scroggin, and I often put, if you go buy the super deluxe Scroggin from New World, the Alison Holst one with cranberries and chocolate chips and all sorts of stuff in it, it's really expensive. If you get one of the cheaper ones and then add chocolate chips to it, you're effectively getting exactly the same product for a significant amount cheaper. So Scroggin is my go-to snack food. I just have a bag in the top of my race pack, and I just grab from that every time we stop to check the mat, every time we're paused to do something, hand in there, throw it in my mouth, and zip it back up and keep moving. Every half an hour or so, I like having some real food, maybe a muesli bar or a banana, apple. They're often good food to take. I like to eat the bananas early in a race. If you've been out there for 9 or more hours, bananas tend to get squashed and thrown around in packs and crushed and stuff. They're pretty disgusting. So eat them early in the race and save the more robust fruit for later in the race. But real food can't be beaten. Sandwiches are another go-to. If the weather's really cold, having a support crew with a soup and a gas cooker, so they can just, and a pot as well, so they can just pour it in to the pot and heat it up and just have it simmering away, and then when you turn up, it's good to go. Did that in the middle of the Southern Alps back in 2001 for an American adventure racing team called Boundary Quest, and they just dropped their drawers, turning up freezing cold, and here's their support crew with hot soup, good to go. It made their day. So make sure you pass that on to your support crew. Just those pre-made soups that you buy in the supermarket in the deli section, or if you make one yourself before you go, and have that bagged up, pour it into the pot, have it simmering away, and it's nice and easy. It doesn't require much work apart from the occasional stir. Righty, sorry, Julie, we'll get to your next question. The entry-level mountain bike should be okay. I don't know exactly what you've got or what condition it's in. That should be okay in most instances. See, you're joking there, so obviously you want me to say, no, you can't utilize that. You need to convince your husband to get a new mountain bike. So just edit that bit out and take that quote and play it for your husband so you can get permission to buy a new bike. Assuming that that's what you're meaning and needing me to say. Alrighty, so I've got to the end of that list of questions. I see there's still a number of you online, so feel free to fire away any questions. I know there's some of you sitting there might not want to ask a question, but if you haven't asked a question, feel free to do so. But if nothing pops up in the next few minutes, we might wrap things up and finish up. Actually, while that's just thinking of your next question, I'm just going to plug my laptop in so the battery doesn't die totally. See, you've got your next question there, Melissa. It won't be a second once this is plugged in. Yes, there are some people that take anti-inflammatories and other painkillers. I'm not a fan of doing that at all. It just masks the symptoms you're having and doesn't actually do much other than inhibit natural processes that are occurring. So, yep, yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't do it myself. I don't encourage people to do it, but I am aware of plenty of people out there that do it. Debbie, thanks for your advice on registering the night before entry. Yep, no problems. Abby, no problems at all. Thanks, bye. Melissa, sorry, gross but true. Yep. And yeah, you see plenty of people doing it every year. Lisa, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Hi, Ray. Where are you based and do you do one-on-one coaching? I'm based in Nelson, and yes, I do one-on-one coaching. It is online coaching, and I have clients spread throughout the world, France, USA, but mainly New Zealand, Dubai. I've got a consultation tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. in Dubai. Well, not in Dubai, well, not Dubai, Qatar, sorry. I always say Dubai for some reason. I've been there, but I haven't been to Qatar. So I do work with people that are geographically dispersed from where I am, set the training plan and monitor your training as you go, give you feedback on a regular basis and track your training and give you guidance and feedback there. So if you do want to have a chat about that, drop me an email or send me a Facebook message and we can organise a Skype or a phone consultation and talk about that, talk about the advantages for you and work out whether it's going to fit with your lifestyle. I realise a lot of people are very busy and it doesn't always fit. Some people, because they are busy, that's why it fits the best, because they've got that specific guidance. So we can have a chat about that. If you want, we can organise a consultation. Sorry, you missed the start of the webinar if you answered earlier. Touched on it very briefly. So yeah, hopefully that gives you the advice you're after. Wendy, one more question. You can have 10 more questions if you want, Wendy. Will there be pit stops? I assume you mean pit stops there. The pit stops, if you're referring to the opportunity to change stuff around and get your bike sorted, that's only going to occur back at the transition areas. If you're referring to pit stops as in to take a break for the call of nature, you will be in the absolute middle of nowhere. Find a bush to be discreet behind, or the other option is to hold on until you get to the transition area where there'll be plenty of portaloos to cover that. So I'm not sure if that's answered your question there, Wendy. Flick another message through if you want clarification or to expand on the question. Rebecca, thanks, Ray. Session was very helpful. You're welcome. Wendy, yep, pit stop. Not sure whether it's a pit stop to fix a bike or for the call of nature, but hopefully I've touched on that sufficiently before. Happy to expand if need be. Julie, fantastic new mountain bike it is. Thank you, Ray. This webinar has made me feel even more confident in what we're doing. I'm off to talk to my team into joining you in Hamner. That'll be fantastic. I'd love to meet you there, Julie. Remind me what duration you're doing. Obviously, you're South Island base, I suspect. But if you're not South Island based, love to see you down in Hamner as well. Hot pools on the Saturday nights. are really great as well. Wendy, thinking more refreshments. Yep, so catch up with your support crew in the transition areas. Get a full baggie in your back of snacks and just eat continuously as you go. Melissa, thanks. Awesome advice. Lots of training, getting out there and a positive attitude. Fingers crossed and remembering to laugh. Yep, enjoy the experience. Have fun while you're doing so. If you don't have fun, you'll never have fun. Yeah, and enjoy the reward of completion of the event. Debbie, thanks, Ray. Very helpful. So I've managed to track down to the bottom of the questions again. Like I said, I'll continue staying online as long as everyone has still got questions coming through. Wendy, brilliant session. Thanks heaps. You are welcome, Wendy. I'm going to stay online whilst you're still here. There's still 8 of you online. So if you're wanting to ask a question with less ears, now's the time to do it. But I would have rather answer it with more people so they can gain the benefit of that knowledge. But they've logged off early, so that's their missing out rather than anything. So thanks for attending tonight. I hope it's been beneficial for you and your teammates. I will try and make a replay of this available if I can. I often stuff up the recording of these webinars. I'm not necessarily the most technical person with regards to this, so if I have successfully done so, I'll do so. Julie, how long are the transition changeovers? They're as long as you want them to be. Some teams will fly in and out in a matter of minutes, such as what I was doing at the Absolute Wilderness this year. Some of them can be quite a bit longer, like I was with Susie and Letty in the Absolute Wilderness a few years ago. There's one transition area there. We probably spent 20 minutes or more while the support crew made the soup, where we're getting changed out of very wet, very cold gear, getting warm gear on, ready for the next leg, eating some food, and then we had some soup before we left. I'm also aware of teams that spend more than half an hour in transition areas and the spring challenge, and I've had teams in expedition adventure races that I've been support crew for that have spent 5 or 6 hours. Well, actually there was one, they spent a day and a half in a transition area, but there were medical reasons why they needed to stay there for that long while they considered options. So, but spring challenge wise, it's not going to be, if you've watched the triathlons on the Commonwealth Games, it's not going to be the lightning quick transitions like they do. It's going to be long enough to make sure that you do everything you need to do. Change what needs to be changed, whether we're talking clothing and or equipment, and also refuel, and also stock up with food for the next leg. Wendy, hi Ray, my 2 teammates will be away when the Hamner weekend is scheduled. Can I just turn up and join in? Yes, you can. There are individual options, and it'll be really great if you can, because there's a team that's joined. I think they had a teammate who's in Australia. So there's only 2 of them coming to the camp. What I'll do, I was going to say pair you up, but I'll put you into the group of 3 with them, and I'll give you an opportunity. One of them is experienced. She's done Spring Challenge before. She's done my training camp before. So it gives you an opportunity to work with a different team. It'd be really good if you could do it with your team, but you'll still learn heaps, even though your teammates aren't there. And it might be that you then pick up the navigation role, having had some training and experience in it, if they are inexperienced with the navigation. So jump on, you'll see the team entry on the registration, and then there's also the individual registration. So grab that while there's still one individual slot there. Wendy, great. Yes, please. Yep. So go for it. You can see Julie and Wendy, and there's a few other people that have been reasonably quiet still online. Actually, Katrina, I remember she said she needed to go, So she's probably just stayed logged in, and it might be the case for the others. But if you've got any other questions there, Wendy or Julie, I'm still here, happy to answer them for you. Okay, with nothing much coming through, I might wrap it up. If you're frantically trying to type something, I'll stay online for another 60 seconds or so. And so I'll let you know before I go. So if you are typing a question, you can hit the enter, and the first part of it can come through whilst you're finished typing the second part. Lisa, thanks heaps. Ray, I'll get going now. All the best. Good luck for the spring challenge. Julie, thanks, Ray. Better go now. The kids need to go to bed. Yep, I've heard my partner putting her children to bed. So that is really good. I realise that time is ticking on depending on the age of your children. Okay, with no more questions coming through, I'm going to wrap things up. If you are online and you do miss me going and do have a question, feel free to send it through Facebook or drop me an email, or go to my website and send me a message through those methods. So all the best with your training, and also on event day at Spring Challenge itself, whether you're in Taupo or Westport. All the best. Have a great day out there with your teammates. Look forward to meeting those of you that will come and join us in Hamner. And yeah, all the best, and look forward to doing this again soon.